Hi, and in this video we'll be looking at the exception handling in Python. An exception in Python is an object that presents an error which occurs during an execution of a program. Now the base class for an exception is the exception class, and there are various subclasses of this class for different errors, such as the stop iteration error or the system exit error or a value error, and the list just keeps going on. Now if the exception is raised, then it bubbles up until the exception is handled, and if it doesn't get handled, then the program gets terminated. So let's look at how we can handle exceptions. To handle an exception, we can use the try and except block. So let's do try. Now in the try block we want the code that we want to run. So let's open up a file, test file, and let's write into it. So f.write, and let's write a message. Now we can use the except clause like this. Now a general except clause like this will catch all exceptions, and this generally isn't a good idea because we should know what errors we're expecting. So in this case we know we can get an IO error, so we can specify the specific exception we want to catch. Now if this exception is raised, let's print IO error raised, and we can also have multiple except clauses. So let's just put another except clause, for example, which catches all of the exceptions, and let's just print an error occurred. If we don't want to do something different for different exceptions, we can also just list them in the same block. So we can do exception here like that, but for now we'll just keep it as IO error. With a try and except, we can also have an else block at the end. Now, this else block is a good place to put code you want to run if everything goes smoothly. So here let's just print out write to file successful, and let's close the resource as well. Now if we run that, you can see we get the write to file is successful. So if we check, we have our test file here with a message in it, and that's because no exceptions were raised. Now let's look at an example when an IO error is raised. So let's open up the file in read mode, which means we don't have permission to actually write into this file. And let's also print out the error. So let's do as e and then print e. Now if we run this, you see we get the not writable error. So the IO error gets caught here, and then it prints out the not writable error. And because the exception was raised, the else block was never ran. Now if we have code, we need to execute whether the exception was raised or not. We can use the finally block. Now the finally block can't be used with the else, so let's replace the else with finally, and let's get rid of this code, and let's print out another message. So this block must execute. So if we run it this time, so you can see that the error gets caught and printed out, and it also runs the finally block and prints out this block must be executed. So that's how you can use the try, except, else, finally blocks to handle exceptions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.